High immigration has been a disaster for Australia. On behalf of the majority of Australians, I demand a halt to immigration. We must catch up on our housing, our infrastructure and our services. We must care first for the Australians living here now. Why is that such an issue? Why can't you just listen to the Australian people, pull back on the immigration, let us catch up? It beggars belief of what you are doing. I don't know who your masters are, but it's certainly not the Australian people we are their servants and we should be listening to them. But you've turned a deaf ear to the Australian people with regard to this. I want the people to have a say, a real say. There should be a debate. There's never been a real debate about this. You've never explained to the Australian people why we should have high immigration. You can't even explain that. You don't want to, because you can't. You're incompetent. Explain to them why you're bringing so many people into the country. Maybe they might agree with you if you can explain it, but I doubt if you ever can.
I come here not as a polished politician, but as a woman who has her fair share of life's knocks. My view on issues is based on common sense, and my experience as a mother of 4 children, a sole parent and a businesswoman running a fish and chip shop, I won the seat of Oxley largely on an issue that has resulted in me being called a racist. That issue related to my comment that Aboriginals received more benefits than non-Aboriginals. We now have a situation where a type of reverse racism is applied to mainstream Australians by those who promote political correctness and those who control the various taxpayer-funded industries that flourish in our society, serving Aboriginals, multiculturalists and a host of other minority groups. In response to my call for equality for all Australians, the most noisy criticism came from the fat cats, bureaucrats and the do-gooders. They screamed the loudest because they stand to lose the most. Their power, money and position, all funded by ordinary Australian taxpayers. Present governments are encouraging separatism in Australia by providing opportunities, land, monies and facilities only available to Aboriginals. Along with millions of Australians, I am fed up to the back teeth with the inequalities that are being promoted by the government and paid for by the taxpayer under the assumption that Aboriginals are the most disadvantaged people in Australia. I do not believe that the colour of one's skin determines whether you are disadvantaged. This nation is being divided into black and white, and the present system encourages this. I am fed up with being told this is our land. Well, where the hell do I go? I was born here, and so were my parents and children. I will work beside anyone, and they will be my equal. But I draw the line when told I must pay and continue paying for something that happened over 200 years ago. Like most Australians, I worked for my land. No one gave it to me. The majority of Aboriginals don't want handouts because they realise that welfare is killing them. This quote says it all. If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Those who feed off the Aboriginal industry don't want to see things changed. If politicians continue to promote separatism in Australia, they should not continue to hold their seats in this parliament. They are not truly representing all Australians, and I call on the people to throw them out. To survive in peace and harmony, united and strong, we must have one people, one nation, one flag. Mr. Acting Speaker, the greatest cause of family breakdown is unemployment. This country of ours has the richest mineral deposits in the world, vast rich lands for agriculture, and are surrounded by oceans that provide a wealth of seafood, and yet we are $190 billion in debt and with an interest bill that is strangling us. Youth unemployment between the ages of 15 to 24 runs at 25%, and even higher in my electorate of Oxley. Statistics, by cooking the books, say that Australia's unemployment is at 8.6%, or just under 1 million people. If we disregard that 1 hour's work a week classifies the person as employed, then the figure is really between 1.5 and 1.9 million unemployed. This is a crisis that recent governments have ignored because of a lack of will. We are regarded as a third world country with first world living conditions. We have one of the highest interest rates in the world, and we owe more money per capita than any other country. All we need is a nail hole in the bottom of the boat and we're sunk. In real dollar terms, our standard of living has dropped over the past 10 years. In the 1960s, our wages increase ran at 3% and unemployment at 2%. Today, not only is there no wage increase, we have gone backwards and unemployment is officially 8.6%. The real figure must be close to 12 to 13%. Immigration and multiculturalism are issues that this government is trying to address, but for far too long, ordinary Australians have been kept out of any debate by the major parties. I and most Australians want our immigration policy radically reviewed and that of multiculturalism abolished.
Yeah.
I believe we are in danger of being swamped by Asians. Between 1984 and 1995, 40% of all migrants into this country were of Asian origin. They have their own culture and religion, form ghettos and do not assimilate. Of course I will be called racist, but if I can invite who I want into my home, then I should have the right to have a say in who comes into my country. A truly multicultural country can never be strong or united, and the world is full of failed and tragic examples ranging from Ireland to Bosnia to Africa and closer to home, Papua New Guinea. America and Great Britain are currently paying the price. There is light at the end of the tunnel and there are solutions. If this government wants to be fair dinkum, then it must stop kowtowing to financial markets, international organisations, world bankers, investment companies and big business people. The Howard government must become visionary and be prepared to act, even at the risk of making mistakes. In this financial year, we will be spending at least $1.5 billion on foreign aid, and we cannot be sure that this money will be properly spent, as corruption and mismanagement in many of the recipient countries are legend. Australia must review its membership and funding of the UN. As it is a little like ADSIC on a grander scale, with huge tax-free American dollar salaries, duty-free luxury cars and diplomatic status. The World Health Organization has a lot of its medical experts sitting in Geneva, while hospitals in Africa have no drugs and desperate patients are forced to seek medication on the black market. I am going to find out how many treaties we have signed with the UN, have them exposed, then call for the repudiation. The government should cease all foreign aid immediately, and apply the savings to generating employment here at home. Mr. Acting Speaker, abolishing the policy of multiculturalism will save billions of dollars and allow those from ethnic backgrounds to join mainstream Australia, paving the way to a strong, united country. Immigration must be halted in the short term so that our dole queues are not added to by, in many cases, unskilled migrants not fluent in the English language. This would be one positive step to rescue many young and older Australians from a predicament which has become a national disgrace and crisis. I must stress at this stage that I do not consider those people from ethnic backgrounds currently living in Australia anything but first-class citizens, provided, of course, that they give this country their full, undivided loyalty. Mr. Acting Speaker, the government must be imaginative enough to become involved in the short term at least in job-creating projects that will help establish the foundation for a resurgence of national development and enterprise. Such schemes would be the building of the Alice Springs to Darwin railway line, new roads and ports, water conservation, reforestation, and other sensible and practical environmental projects. Therefore, I call for the introduction of national service, compulsory for male and female upon finishing Year 12 or 18 years of age for a period of 12 months. This could be a civil service with a touch of military training, because I don't feel we can go on living in a dream world forever and a day, believing that war will never touch our lives again. The government must do all it can to help reduce interest rates for business. How can we compete with Japan, Germany and Singapore, who enjoy rates of 2%, 5.5% and 3.5% respectively? Reduced tariffs on foreign goods that compete with local products only seem to cost Australians their jobs. We must look after our own before lining the pockets of overseas countries and investors at the expense of our living standards and future. Mr. Acting Speaker, time is running out. We may only have 10 to 15 years left to turn things around. Because of our resources and our position in the world, we won't have a say because neighbouring countries such as Japan with 250 million people, China 1.2 billion, India 1 billion, Indonesia 250 million and Malaysia 300 million are well aware of our resources and potential. Wake up, Australia, before it's too late. Australians need and want leaders who can inspire and give hope in difficult times. Now is the time for the Howard government to accept the challenge. Mr. Acting Speaker, everything I have said is relevant to my electorate of Oxley, which is typical of mainstream Australia. I do have concerns for my country, and I am going to do my best to speak my mind and stand up for what I believe in. As an independent, I am confident that I can look after the needs of the people of Oxley, and I will always be guided by their advice. It is refreshing to be able to express my views without having to toe a party line. It has got me into trouble on the odd occasion, but I am not going to stop saying what I think. I consider myself just an ordinary Australian who wants to keep this great country strong and independent, and my greatest desire is to see all Australians treat each other as equals as we travel together towards the new century. I will fight hard to keep my seat in this place, but that will depend on the people who sent me here. Mr. Acting Speaker, I thank you for your attention and trust that you will not think me presumptuous if I dedicate this speech to the people of Oxley and those Australians who have supported me. I salute them all.